Hello, folks. Today I'd like to talk about creative social help centers or paws and hands centers or utopia kind of centers. These are social centers. This is a creative idea that I've had for society, I believe, which is to say, I would want to see in society, all over society, which means ubiquitous, um, centers, creative help centers where people can go if they need help, um, like children and youth without who don't have family, don't have support, elderly people that don't have help or support, and many of our cats and dogs which don't have support. I would think that the best option here is to put those, not put, but give the option for those groups of people that want or need help or assistance to have an extra community for these groups and people, namely creative help centers that could be across the world, across America, for example, where there are societies or communities where you know elderly people need help, children, youths that need help, and cats and dogs that are homeless or don't have homes or families. All these people can help each other, hypothetically. For example, elderly people are often lonely. Um, I've worked, I've volunteered at a hospital before, an elderly hospital, an elderly kind of uh, hospital place where I don't know what it's called right now. It's just, it's like where elderly people stay. It's not, um, sorry. Let's move on for a second. So my idea is that um, elderly people can be able to teach what they know and what they've learned to youth and children in these communities. And the children, it's like a symbiotic relationship, a relationship which helps all both parties and back and forth kind of uh, agreement and relationship where the children and youth learn from the elderly people or hear stories, and the elderly people also care for the youth and advise them on why certain thinkings are interesting or good, perhaps, or provide general care for youth and children. And the youth and children, in turn, provide youth and care for the elderly people. And the cats and dogs in these communities would uh, would also be taken care of by the elderly and the children and youth. And but for for these communities, these creative help communities to happen, or utopia communities, or paws and hands kind of communities to happen, we need like societal guardians in these communities, a type of police force, but a type of societal guardian, maybe a new kind of uh, heroic force that looks and cares for these groups in these communities. So in essence, no one can be mistreated because there's always this team of societal guardians looking at out for elderly folks and the children and the cats and dogs. And in my vision here about these ubiquitous creative help centers, people would everyone would be helping each other, and no one would have to be lonely. No one would have to be lonely. Um, there'd be lots of books and other kind of learning materials at hand. And also, these centers would be pretty much free, hopefully, subsidized by the government and or billionaires and millionaires or other micro donations from generous non-millionaires and non-billionaires. Uh, in essence, essentially, these communities are good and necessary and vital because everyone needs help to some degree. Everyone needs some kind of help, and children and youth who have no family are often alone and wandering the street. And they don't have anyone. Elderly folks are often alone and need help. Cats and dogs who are homeless often need help and shelter. So why not have all these three groups symbiotically helping each other? Um, you know, I know that sounds kind of bizarre, but I mean, you know, the old saying is uh, kill. Well, I'm not going to go into that right now, but there is the basic thing is that look, these three groups are mainly in our society and are very needful of help, and they can benefit each other by helping each other symbiotically. Um, that is to say, the first thing that would need to happen probably would be to find some sort of space, a community center, indoor loft space, a refurbished factory kind of center, or a house or multiple houses in a community that house elderly folks who need help, house youth and children folks together who need help, house cats and dogs. I mean, these can be separated. These folks and dogs and cats can be separated into different rooms, and there can be communal areas where everyone gets together and helps somehow, or discusses different creative topics and learning potentials. And the idea is that, of course, there has to be some sort of overarching societal guardians, I would call them, that look in on the community members, the elderly folk and the children, and the youth and the cats and the dogs. So no one, absolutely no one, no cats or dogs, children, youth, or elderly folk are ever mistreated. This is very vital and very important to these creative help centers, is that everyone feels comfortable and taken care of. And basically, the creative help centers again would be funded by generous donations, micro donations, and donations from state and federal government, and donations from millionaires and billionaires who could have who might find it in their hearts to donate as well. Um, these community centers are very necessary, and we don't have them currently in 2020 in this year. We need them in the future because a lot of costs are rising. A lot of people need help. A lot of people don't have family and don't have friends, and they're susceptible to hurt and violence and drug abuse and alcoholism and on and on. And they need these centers. I think they need these centers to help them, to teach them, to help them grow up more empathetically and stronger, and feel good about themselves, have good thoughts and feelings. And in turn, the children and youth learn to care for elderly people. The elderly people won't feel as lonely because most of elderly people really adore children and youth, and they like to be around young folks and talk with them and hear what they have to say. And youth and children love attention usually, and love to be around people that can help. You know, cats and dogs, homeless cats and dogs need people. They need people. Not everyone wants to buy a cat or dog or take them into their house. So why not have these kind of community centers where um, you can go and live, or stay for a while and help out the community. That's a good thing. I personally don't help. I don't probably help out to the extent where I should right now. I do make charitable donations to charities once in a while now. I've been doing that for about a year now. I make charity donations to like St. Jude's and the American Red Cross and the American Humane Society, the Humane Society of America, stuff like that. Greenpeace, I did that once. So my final point is that these community centers, these creative community centers, are vital. They're necessary. We need them in society because no one wants to be homeless. Okay, I mean there are maybe a small fraction of homeless people who want to travel and explore, but even still they need support and help, and they're not getting it. And the people who are homeless and don't want to be homeless shouldn't have to be. There's something funny in America, for example, I feel, is that we're supposed to pick ourselves up from our bootstraps, even if we're going insane or we have a lot of issues, physical issues or traumas. We're supposed to do all this by ourselves, with even if we have no help from parents or society or guardians or anything. It seems to me, in 2020 and before, people have to just help themselves somehow, and I don't really like that model. But I don't like it. I don't like the model of, excuse me, I don't appreciate that model of people having to always be alone and helping themselves, because it's not the way life should be. And it could be more optimal, if more segments of society help other segments, and then back and forth in a symbiotic relationship like that, in a caring, healthy, symbiotic relationship. That is what I feel life should be about. So I'll be on with another video hopefully in a little while. Uh, Take care, folks. Thanks for considering this idea. I hope someone out there can implement or help implement these ideas of creative help centers for elderly people, children, and homeless cats and dogs, homeless youth and children, and homeless elderly folks. Segments of our society which are not getting enough help, and in general, and could really use the help and support. So thank you. Bye.